ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's.
We welcome you to the Infinity College Basketball Tip-Off. From Rupp Arena here in Lexington, Big Blue Nation is looking for a get-well game. 15th ranked Kentucky, coming off that 22-point road loss to Florida. Now they come home to host LSU. And remember when the SEC was thought of as a predictable Kentucky runaway? Well, look at what South Carolina and Florida are doing. Kentucky's in third. Florida just got the best of them. And South Carolina sits atop the league at 9-1. Joe and Sean with you here as we say hello. Glad you're with us for Super Tuesday. What in the world was that on Saturday night down there in Gainesville, partner? And what does it mean for Kentucky? They were out-rebounded 54-29. That hyped-up primetime showdown was a beatdown. What needs to be fixed?
First of all, welcome to Super Tuesday, Joe Tech. And of course, you're looking at Kentucky. What needs to be fixed? Well, they don't need a point guard. They don't need a shooter. They don't need bigs. They got all that you need. But they do need to make some adjustments to the defensive end of the floor. As you take a look, I pulled out a couple plays from Florida. Great closeout from Malik Monk. Really good contested shot. But hey, Florida's got the ball. Malik, where are you going? You're leaking out to try to get a layup. Your man's still underneath, and watch what happens. Good ball reversal action. Florida finds the open man. It ends up being a layup at the rim. We go out of bounds underneath again. Here's Devin Robinson. Bam Adebayo's got to slide his feet and not be late and lunge and just reach and wipe with his hand. That's an N1 for Devin Robinson. And of course, just like Kentucky wants to do, teams want to run and find easy looks. You've got to get back in defensive transition. So for me, it's about the focus at the defensive end of the floor.
3 losses in their last 4. First time that's happened in 3 years as you see the differentials over that span. You've been watching Infinity Tip-Off. Now let's take a look as coaches compete for a charity of their choice in the Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge. Welcome back to Super Tuesday, presented by CenturyLink. As you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Kentucky dropped 7 spots in the poll after the loss to Florida. What kind of message did Coach Calipari deliver? Let's say hello to Kayla.
Well, Tess, reboot, the word of choice for John Calipari this week. He actually gave his team the day off on Sunday, so his players could think about why they are where they are after losing 3 of their last 4. And with that free time, it was clear Cal watched the Super Bowl. The Patriots, the inspiration for his message to his team today is he said, I need 40 minutes out of you playing basketball the way we play the game, just like the Patriots. They got down, they didn't panic, they stuck to their brand of football.
Experience, something they could use, just like the Patriots have had through the years. This team needs to mature at the right time as we are underway here in Lexington.
One of the big numbers they need to continue to work on is cutting down their turnovers. Last 4 games, more turnovers than they've had assists.
Here's Fox to get the night going. And he's back from the illness, came off the bench for the first time in his career in Saturday's loss to Florida. Didn't practice prior to that game. Remember, he missed the overtime win against Georgia with the flu.
Good show that time by Gabriel.
Wade Sims getting the start here, his second start, as Reith was off the mark.
Hey, tonight when I'm watching this game, I'm watching Kentucky to see their buy-in factor at the defensive end of the floor. Are they doing the little things that don't show up in the stat box? Are they showing on screens, helping out their teammates, communicating and recovering?
That's a big point of emphasis. That's hitting the back neck of the rim that time was Gabriel. We spent a lot of time shoot around today and with Coach Cal. I enjoyed the part of today where you simply said, hey, how you doing, Coach? That was a nice response.
Well, he asked us how we were doing.
I mean, you're exchanging pleasantries, but he gave you that look. Obviously, it's been an interesting stretch. Sims couldn't knock it down. In a strange way, though, a little pace here, the push. And Briscoe tried to save it that time. It was on the line of the LSU ball. In a strange way, you know, Cal has in recent days given a few quotes where he says, sometimes you got to hit bottom. Maybe we've hit bottom. Maybe this is an opportunity where you get their attention. There's coachable moments.
and you can reset things. Well, you know, a couple of years ago, Kaylee mentioned the word is reboot. It used to be we're going to tweak. They tweaked things 2 seasons ago. You know, now they're trying to hit the reset button and reboot this roster. And good hands that time by De'Aaron Fox. But the thing about it, and I mentioned in the open, you know, when you're trying to reboot, the key is, do you have the pieces? Kentucky has the pieces, Tess.
This is not a talent issue.
No, it's not like, look, Texas A&M, they need a point guard. They're not finding one in College Station that's coming up and helping them. Kentucky doesn't have to worry about finding something. What they need to do is find themselves. And that is effort, that is focus, attention to detail, and maintaining that over a long period of time.
Nice work moments ago, freshman to freshman, Mays to Wade Sims for LSU. And underneath and cleaning it up was Wenyen Gabriel.
A nice job by Briscoe, finding him over the top, the soft pass, allowing Gabriel in his length to be able to finish that one and gather underneath.
Here's Sims. 16-footer was short. It tracks down the rebound.
Well, that was
obviously
a prime example of what I'm talking about.
Issue.
Gabriel leaked out. Gabriel did a nice closeout, anticipated his teammate getting the rebound, and turned and ran in the opposite direction. That's what allowed the second chance opportunity for LSU. Now, it doesn't hurt them here. But for me, looking at Kentucky, I'm not worried about here. I'm thinking long term. Remember, last night marked 8 weeks from the national championship game in Arizona. If you want to get there, you clean up these things starting now.
Hit it inside to Bam. Cutting is Briscoe. Kick out. And we're going to get the call here as Bam was tied up with Reith. Johnny Jones, his 5th year at LSU. Feels good about some of the development of the younger players, but obviously it has been a very discouraging stretch overall, having lost 9 straight. Talent exodus from a year ago. Red Victor dismissed. And good work that time by Gabriel. Sampson through the lane, and he travels.
A good job against the zone, and this is a play they work on all the time. They screen the center of the zone, and then a good job by Gabriel relocating to the weak side to make himself available for that offensive rebound.
Averages 6 a game, second on the team. Here's Monk. And Sampson comes in with the rebound for the Tigers. All too easy as Monk chased it down.
Well, yeah, but you got to credit Isaiah Briscoe. I mean, he made the on-ball defense, the hustle play, diving on the floor for the loose ball. Sampson unable to corral it. And look at, here it goes again.
And unable to finish was Fox as he's working his way back through the photographers and reaching up towards his left eye. And on the other end, Reith and the foul. A good effort by Isaiah Briscoe. And it leads to a quick 2.
The commitment to the defensive end of the floor, that's what you want to see out of Kentucky. Lay out, play hard, manufacture points. Able to get it going early.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And in part by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Joe, Sean, and Kaylee back here on Super Tuesday. Kentucky with a 5-point lead.
Yeah, let's go inside the play, though, and watch bad defense, good defense. As this play rolls out for you, you're going to start to see Wenyen Gabriel with the closeout right there. And as he closes out, watch the ball, comes off. He goes and leaks out for the offense. His man gets the offensive rebound. Can't do that. So what's some good Kentucky defense? On-ball pressure, quick hands, Isaiah Briscoe forcing the turnover that leads to an easy 2 points. And all night long, this is what I'm going to be watching. I want to see the good and I want to see the bad. Where are the areas that need to improve? Isaiah Briscoe has been the leader day 1 of this season.
And what he needs to do is he needs to set that tone, and he's trying to do it with good on-ball defense.
Brief at the line, 3-point play possibility. Foul was on Bam Adebayo. So the ball screen gives way to Monk. Briscoe, 3-ball. Adebayo, offensive rebound. Second chance, Kentucky. Good look to Gabriel.
That's Kentucky basketball there. Physical, gathering an offensive rebound, passing it out to your teammate, then finding the open guy.
Pass to Sims, but he couldn't get it to go. Here's the speedy Fox. Gabriel. 3 goes down. And he's off to a good start. He has 9.
Well, and you've got to love, timeout for LSU, you've got to love the ball movement on the last 2 possessions. Kentucky starting to feel it, and so are the fans. The Cats are out and running. Kentucky, 10-point lead. The last 2 possessions, you're starting to see the activity that you want at the offensive end of the floor. Bam Adebayo with the offensive rebound. Gabriel able to flush it. And then great quickness, ball movement at the opposite in the next possession. Watch how quick Kentucky swings the ball, finds the open man, makes the extra pass. A good high percentage look from the outside.
Kelly, that's what Coach wants to see.
After Gabriel went to the rim, Coach had a fist pump on the sidelines. Then he went to a couple guys on his bench, Isaac Humphrey and Derek Willis, and said, you see that? We're moving the ball.
5 turnovers now for LSU. Sloppy early on here. Good Kentucky defense. Gabriel fouled this time as he went up. He has 7 of their last 9 points.
And I think Gabriel has been a player that over the course of this season has continued to get better. He's had some big moments. You know, the season high 16 rebounds against Auburn. You know, fouled out though in 13 minutes against Florida, and the 4 position is a key position for Kentucky. They need to have production, whether it's Gabriel or Willis. And I think the numbers as far as rebounding the basketball need to get a little bit better between the 2 of them. But they can also score the basketball as teams continue to focus out on the guards and pressure out and Bam Adebayo underneath. There'll be space for them to find work and find easy looks.
Fox takes a seat as Hawkins comes in. Gabriel already 11 tonight. Season high is 15. As Briscoe chases that down. Monk shot fake. 18-footer. Wouldn't drop. And another offensive rebound as Gabriel's been so active.
All it takes is a little energy. It's amazing. In the game of basketball, you play harder than your opponent, good things are going to happen for you. Number 32 in white right now is playing extremely hard.
Here he is again. Tapped out. Briscoe secures it. Monk shot fake through the lane.
The score at the bottom of your screen maybe anticipated coming into this game with the way that LSU has been struggling. But I'll tell you this. I love what I'm seeing energy-wise and activity-wise from Kentucky.
Well, there were times Saturday night, and I understand how good Florida is, but a lot of that was lacking. As Robinson tried to make the move. Tapped out. Will stay on this end. Kentucky on a 9-0 run.
You think about the 22-point deficit in that game, and here comes Willis. I think he's coming in for Gabriel. The fans should give him a nice round of applause as he goes to the bench. He played with great heart and effort. You hear it.
I also think about how they started that game, especially Malik Monk. He was so sluggish. 0 of 5 shooting. Their worst scoring first half of the season. Robinson fighting for it once again. That's off Wynyard. So we'll stay with LSU.
And Coach Cal immediately telling Ty underneath, you've got to put a body on him. You've got to box out. Otherwise, you sub right back out of the game. The attention to detail. The players know what is the important aspect for Coach Calipari. And he mentioned it today at shoot-around. If you're not defending, if you're not in help side position, if you're not playing hard with effort, and if you're not rebounding and taking care of your responsibilities as far as boxing out, you're going right back to the bench.
Hawkins, baseline, rattles out. Here's Jenkins now. 17-footer wouldn't drop for him. Long rebound into the hands of Patterson. Blakeney puts it in for three.
Antonio Blakeney, such a talented player for LSU and has put up big numbers all season long for this team. And a nice job and a perfect opportunity. A lot of times that second chance opportunity, find that three-point shot. It's a good, clean look. Take it.
Willis. That wouldn't drop for him. But Hawkins, another rebound, shorted it a bit.
Kentucky has already matched the offensive rebound total that they had against Florida in that game.
How about that?
We're not even halfway through the first half.
Patterson's effort from the corner wouldn't go. Well, coming up, the wild drama docuseries known.
All right, it's time now for Previously on College Basketball. In case you weren't paying attention, Saturday was a big day. 6 of the top 10 in the Associated Press poll fell, including 3 from the Big 12. Kansas, one of them, their home winning streak was smashed. And, of course, Jim Boeheim's big day as he handed out his 1,000th career loss. Not his 1,000th career win because the NCAA has taken it away. The Zags still perfect. #1 in the country. Great balance. They have the longest win streak, obviously, in the country as the only undefeated team this year. The Ducks, they have the longest home court winning streak. 40 in a row after they absolutely dismantled the Arizona Wildcats on Saturday up in Eugene.
You mentioned the 6 top 10 teams losing on Saturday. That tied the record for the most in a single day. By the way, and you and I were sitting back going through the top 25 earlier today, looking at where the SEC Big 3 stand there. And a lot of people, when you have a season like this, will point and say, well, who's the elite team and where is it and what does parity mean? I actually think the sport is in great health right now. I think when you start looking down, we went 19 deep where you say this is a legitimate team that can make a run into March and you feel good about how they're playing. And we got the whistle here as they were looking to get it into Adebayo.
Well, no, and I think that's what's been the storyline all season long in college basketball. You know, as college football fans came back to our sport after the outstanding national championship game, now we've got NFL fans that are maybe tuning in for the first time and really starting to focus on this sport as it gears up towards March Madness and the national championship. This year, you've got talented freshmen that have spread out across the landscape that have been very important to many teams' successes. But yet you also have experienced teams that have a wealth of time together that are playing well. You look at Villanova and what they've been able to accomplish coming off of last year's national championship, losing some key components from last year's team, but yet not losing a beat as far as success and identity within that program.
Mulder threw it away moments ago. Second turnover tonight for Kentucky. That's with the air ball. 15-footer goes down for Bam Adebayo.
Great job, penetration, flattening out the defense. Bam, who's trailing there, got his feet set underneath him and knocked down the elbow jump shot.
Jumper drops in that time for Epps. There's Mulder. And that'll go to LSU. Kelly?
Well, Tess and Sean, as we talk about the energy that we see this Kentucky team bringing tonight, let's not forget that this is the first time they've had the full complement of their roster in 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks ago that Michael Mulder first went out with an undisclosed illness. Then there was the ankle roll of De'Aaron Fox. Then he got hit with the flu bug, and also Sasha Kalia-Jones with an illness of his own. So tonight, for the first time, everybody available for Kentucky in a while.
Another good scrappy play Farnham, as we noted earlier, and the possession arrow will go with LSU. You mentioned Mulder. He played against Florida, having missed the 4 games prior with an illness. We told you about Fox, and you know what he did coming off the bench against Florida. He didn't practice prior to that game.
And time together is obviously important for any team, and you've got to be able to build trust through communication at the defensive end of the floor. That connectivity so important for success and having belief on, especially in on-ball screen situations. Kentucky's getting better at it, but they have struggled.
Bam tried to slap it away. Sims tried to clean it up, and it goes into the hands of Willis. Up ahead, Briscoe steps over and tried to get it to go with the right hand and draws the foul. Well, Thursday night rivalry week continues on ESPN. It's the Sonic Blockbuster doubleheader, and it is a great one. First at 8, Tobacco Road for North Carolina and Duke, and then at 10, going to head west, the Pac-12 showdown, Oregon and UCLA. Duke UNC, I marvel at this. They have split the last 96 games, with each team scoring exactly 7,437 points apiece. How does that happen?
It's the best rivalry, and maybe not just in college basketball, but maybe in sports. And you think about what makes a great rivalry is the ability to go back and forth and have competitive greatness and have games that are significant and matter. That rivalry year in and year out is exactly that.
Briscoe.
There's years in Major League Baseball where the Red Sox, Yankees won. It doesn't really matter quite as much because maybe one team is struggling or so far behind.
Robinson on the inside. Yes, it'll drop in for him and the foul.
Good job by Robinson. He's such a strong, wide body that he's able to carve out space in the middle of the paint. And he caught that ball and went through the contact, able to finish. And that's been the key for Johnny Jones and his coaching staff. And talking to them earlier today, he mentioned to us, look, right now, it's tough. Well, you look, I don't go recruit kids that are 1-9 at high school, you know, or play on AAU teams that go 1-9 in tournaments.
Caught the ladder, Farnham. Hello, Mr. Monk.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving that like a 4.
I enjoyed it. Have a little fun, Farnham. It's college basketball prime time, my man. Here comes Briscoe, and he's going to pull up without numbers. Monk's going to trail and say 3 ball. Rattles out.
I've seen Malik do some things that are absolutely phenomenal. This one, good movement. The defense showing out a little too hard. Backdoor cut. You see Antonio Blakeney lose him and elevate up and able to finish. Test it. That's climbing the ladder. Wait till you see him maybe a little bit.
That's just a step ladder, my friend. That's just a little step ladder. It's just changing a light bulb right there. As Robinson picked up his
not even in the ceiling. It's just on the fan.
16 fouls for LSU.
I was saying, though, LSU, their focus right now on the stretch of the season is player development. Is trying to get each one of these guys a little bit better.
This is going to go the other way, as they're going to tag Isaac Humphreys, his first. Well, youth is an issue for LSU. By Ken Palm's metric on experience, they're 338th out of 351. Only Kentucky and Mississippi State, the only SEC teams with less experience, younger on the roster than LSU. Mays with the left hand from the right side. As here they come again. The catch with Briscoe. Turnover, Mays.
And that's an errant pass from Malik Monk where he leaves his feet, has nowhere to go really, and just gets caught in the air, and it turns into 2 points for LSU. And that's been a problem with the turnovers over the last 4 games for Kentucky. Their turnovers are live ball turnovers that have led to points for their opponents.
Sampson's first basket of the night. Monk
See, I didn't like that possession because the ball stayed on one side of the floor. No ball reversal. Didn't swing it and force the defense to react.
Good hands by De'Aaron Fox. 7 turnovers for LSU. Couldn't finish on the other end.
Go back to the last possession of the test. You know what I'm talking about is you swing the ball to one side, they close out, you swing it right back to point guard, throw it right back to the same guy on the wing. The defense hasn't had to go anywhere. Built-in rebounding is still set.
Gabriel dishes Humphries.
There's no doubt in the first half, the star of the game is that man right there, Wenyen Gabriel. His energy level, his activity, his unselfishness there to make that great interior pass and set up his teammate for an easy 2.
He had the hot hand early. 11 points for Gabriel. Sampson buries the 3. Wenyen Gabriel, the 6'9" freshman, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and this, one of his 2 assists.
Technical jump shots, I'll tell you that.
Whoa.
Whoa. I love Seth Greenberg. The man, I mean, this is coming from a man who last week couldn't figure out how to keep his earpiece in during an interview.
I was watching that game dying.
Hey,
he's up there with Rick Barry chatting it up. Earpiece is hanging down like halfway down his suit.
I talk ball. I don't do TV.
Yeah. He's the best coach.
How about Jay Will the other day? Dunking
elevation.
Did you see that?
There was a use of the left hand there. There was a
no,
little
there
bit
wasn't.
of
I'm giving that to Jay Will.
No, I loved it, actually. I thought it was great stuff. Here's Monk. Drops it in. He's got 9.
How about South Carolina right now, by the way, in that game you talked about Alabama? They are 3 of 30 from the field. 3 of 30 from the field. Alabama taking it to them.
Taking it to the 10 that time. Just an 8-point margin here. Gabriel trying to continue his ways, and he will head to the line. And the conversation in the SEC has shifted after what happened on Saturday night. South Carolina at 9-1. Of course, Kentucky got the best of them 85-69 back in January 21st.
And Florida right now up by 1 over Georgia. That game in Athens. And the race in the SEC, you know, it's funny. Kentucky's 7-0, and everybody's saying that the separation is just so deep. You know, it's so far away. Kentucky and the rest of the conference. And now all of a sudden, here we are in February, and evidently that separation not as deep as people thought. And the reason for that is the 2 teams that are ahead of Kentucky right now in the standings are 2 teams that are experienced. They are older. They have good athleticism, length. Sindarius Thornwell, maybe the best 2-way player in the entire conference when you watch him defensively and offensively and what he's meant to Frank Martin's team over the long haul of this season. Struggling tonight, though, just 0 of 8. I mean, having a terrible first half.
So far off the mark was Edelstone. Senior making his way into this game.
Ooh.
Monk took care of it, though. Fox had tripped up Hayward. Monk came in and said, I don't have a problem with it. Here's Blakeney now. And he puts it in.
And his ability to score, former McDonald's All-American, 8 20-point games on the season. He's their best offensive player. And on the scouting report, you have to know where number 2 is at all periods of time when he's out on the floor.
Well, that's actually one of the first things that when we visited with Johnny Jones today, he brought up the fact that all opposing teams indeed do that. And he's been getting so much defensive attention. And that time Willis was fouled. That's the second on Epps.
In that opposite possession, watch this little crossover. Whoop! TJ McConnell-esque from last night for the 76ers. When he fell on the back down, look, you got to keep your balance. You got to keep your feet separated. Defensively, you cross your feet, and where you're going to end up is on the ground.
Gabriel and Monk have been so productive early on here. 23 combined points. Isaac Humphries comes back in as Willis takes a seat. Too easy through the lane.
Too easy. Malik Monk leaning into the screen, anticipating that Antonio Blakeney's going to take him there. He rejects the screen, and it's a simple blow-by.
And getting his hands involved defensively on the other end. Blakeney's got 7.
Malik Monk, you got to buy in defensively, and this is an example of where you want to see improvement. He anticipates that he's going to go into the screen. Instead, he rejects it, and then you're lunging and you're reaching, and the help side defense is a step slow, not plugging the gap, not forcing them to shoot up over the top, instead giving them a lane to finish.
Well, the help defense was a step slow. There is nothing a step slow about Blakeney when he decides to take that green light. From the corner, Gabriel thought about it, now drives and draws the foul before he was able to dish to Humphries. Well, tomorrow night on ESPN, NBA Wednesday doubleheader. First at 8, Clippers and Knicks. Then at 10:30, the Bulls going up against KD and Steph and the Warriors. And coverage begins with NBA Countdown, charged by Mountain Dew at 7.
Looking forward to both those games, of course. Looking forward this weekend, Kevin Durant returns home to Oklahoma City. That's on ABC on Saturday night. And a big game there.
What do you think the vibe will be with that?
I don't think the fans are going to be so receptive to him returning back to Oklahoma City. But I do tell you this. Doc Rivers saying the sky is not falling for the Clippers. It may not be in a complete collapse yet, but certainly trending in that direction. It wasn't that long ago they were the 2 seed in the Western Conference. Now they're down to the 5 as the playoffs were to start today. I know CP3's out.
Tyler Mays weaving throughout and all the way down to the baseline. Blakeney again, this time off the ball screen. He's going to choose it from 16 feet and drop it in.
How good of a first half has he had? He has played very smart basketball, taking quality shots. 9 points down for Antonio Blakeney.
It's the last 6 for LSU. Monk gives way to Gabriel. What a first half for Wenyen Gabriel.
That's 16 for him now.
Season high 16.
And that action, though, was great. He sucked the defense in by driving. Nobody around him on the shot.
Mays. And Humphries with the rebound. Up ahead, Monk. Couldn't add to it. This will be against Kentucky. Wenyen Gabriel, 16 points and a 12-point margin for the Cats.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2017 John R. Wooden Player of the Year.
UCLA should be a good one. Dana Altman's Ducks, and look at the ascent as the year has gone on with the ranking. This week, number 5. That impressive win against Arizona. They beat them down 85-58. What did you see with Oregon this week?
Well, they shared the basketball. 26 assists on 30 made field goals. And you think about Oregon, they started the year as a thought team that could win the Pac-12, go to the Final Four. They played without Dylan Brooks. They tried to find their way, and now they have. And think about this, Tess. Since the start of last season, not just this year, they're 9-1 against top 25 opponents. That's the best record in the nation, and that's the Oregon Ducks.
Now, this is a good time of year to find yourself. Foul was on Gabriel, his first.
Now, Dylan Brooks playing much better as of late, averaging close to 23 points per game. The last 2 games, 7 of 12 from beyond the arc. Good rebounding numbers, assist numbers. He's a huge versatile player that has that All-American type game to him.
Monk. How about the move to arrive at the 10? Malik Monk. He's got 14.
Very quick and close with his handle. A great crossover, freed up the space.
Second among all freshmen nationally in scoring. Turnover. Willis spins through the lane. Left hand wouldn't drop. Long rebound off the wrong shot into the hands of Bridgewater.
I see Kentucky was watching that time on the rebound. Nobody was attacking the ball, trying to gather the rebound. They were anticipating their teammate was going to get it, and now LSU's got another possession.
Sampson, and now on the drive off another long rebound, tapped around by Everstone and fought for.
Their frustration not finishing off the possession at this end of the floor, but that last time down offensively, watch the crossover and the blow by. Nobody's going to stop you. Defensive rotation too slow. Malik Monk. Oh, that's three.
Possession arrow with Kentucky, by the way, at the end of that last exchange. You see him averaging 21.9. And he leads the SEC in scoring when all this is wrapped up at the end of the season. He'd be just the fourth freshman in SEC history to win the league scoring title.
And the clock didn't start, so they're going to take the ball back out of bounds and fix that.
Willis. Long ball rattles out. Gabriel flying in. And another hustle play from Gabriel.
He not only has 16 points, he has 7 rebounds in the first half as well.
He's playing with juice. He's playing with purpose.
It's like broadcasting the game with you, Tess.
Farnham, you're too much.
You always bring juice to the broadcast.
Fox brings a little burst. Largest lead of the night for Kentucky. Tracked down by Briscoe. Final seconds. Willis came up short.
Overall, a good first half, a disciplined first half, and a phenomenal one for number 32 in White.
20th time this season that Kentucky leads at the half. They're 17-2 in those previous 19. Kaylee.
Well, Coach, how does Wenyen Gabriel's first half compare to the role you want him to define for himself?
Well, we're talking individuals. Right now, what we're doing is moving the ball. We have no ball stoppers. We had one, I took him out. You're not stopping. We got to rebound the ball. We gave him 3 opportunities right here. Guy didn't rebound, I took him out. It's guys who were saying, you must rebound. If you don't, I can't leave you in. Same with ball movement. We've gotten it taken us 3 weeks to one or no pass in a shot. Aaron Fox goes down on 3 defenders and shoots a ball. We're not playing that way anymore. That was a month ago. We got to change.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Kaylee. Gabriel, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 43-27 at the half. Seth J. and my man Verk will have the Alfa Romeo halftime report right after this.
You're watching ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's.
Thrilled you're with us for Super Tuesday, presented by CenturyLink, as you're watching the SEC on ESPN. From Big Ol' Rupp here in Lexington, a 16-point lead for the Cats as we look at the first half. Stats brought to you by GoDaddy, Sean.
Well, the first thing that stands out to me is the +9 rebounding margin. After getting out rebounded the way they did against Florida, the worst rebounding margin in 25 years for Kentucky.
Star of the show so far, Wenyen Gabriel, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists.
To me, all this is about his energy and want to. In the game of basketball, it's an emotional game. You've got to play with energy, focus, and you have to have that want to. And he has been the guy that consistently has put himself in the right position to be successful. He has his feet set underneath him, 5 of 8 from the field in the first half, and really very active at both ends of the floor, rebounding the basketball.
LSU didn't score in the last 3 minutes and 46 seconds. They missed their last 6 shots, and Kentucky led for all but 20 seconds in that first half. Based on Coach Cal's comments there to Kaylee before halftime, you talk about energy and purpose and commitment. He still wants to see plenty of it, no matter the score here. Get that taste of Saturday night out of their mouth.
Kaylee mentioned it in her opening hit. It's about the New England Patriots mentality of just, regardless of what the score is, we are who we have to be, and you have to play to our level, our standard. And the standard at Kentucky is very clear. It's not really up for debate. I mean, the goal every year, you come out and you put on that jersey, you're thinking you've got to win a national championship, you're going to win the conference title. The pride that you must have in the tradition of this program. And within that, it's the attention to detail in all aspects of the game and playing with an unbelievable effort. I thought it was improved in the first half. I still think there's areas, and we've shown a couple of those in the first half, that need to continue to get better.
I thought there were many moments in the first half that were completely absent from the night down in Gainesville. As Mays floats it inside to Sims. And this will be going with a possession. The arrow heads the other way. Kaylee?
Well, Tess, you talked about it. Wenyen Gabriel, the star of that first half for Kentucky. And Johnny Jones gave him all the credit for what he did to create his own shots. He said, we wanted to take away Kentucky's ability to penetrate in the lane. We felt like we did that, but then Gabriel found his shots and knocked them down. And as LSU looks for their own offense, Jones said, we need to have better poise under the pressure of Kentucky's defense. They're bringing the pressure, and we're not showing the poise.
Well, if he wants to take away the lane, they certainly didn't do it on that opening possession defensively, as De'Aaron Fox drove right down the middle to score.
That was a beautiful move by Fox on the finish, scooping with the left hand.
You have a sizable lead, almost 20-point lead, 1 minute into the second half. This is where your focus and attention to detail will get tested. It's easy in these moments to start breaking away, going, okay, now I'm going to get mine. We got a good lead here. We're okay. This is where you really need to be committed and mentally focused to the process.
Briscoe off the mark. And Mays getting tied up with Adebayo there. And that'll be his third.
And he's going to get a quick exit from this game. And those are some of the fouls that he needs to avoid. You know, you give up the offensive rebound. You don't get the offensive rebound. They get the defensive rebound. Why are you lunging, reaching, fouling that far away from the basket and removing yourself from the game?
So 3 out of Adebayo as Humphreys checks in for Kentucky. Here's Reith working against Humphreys. Came up well short. Up ahead, Fox. And he gets it to circle in. He's got 9 on the night. Briscoe with the rebound off the Blakeney miss. 20-point lead for Kentucky. Briscoe, as he was probing through the lane and then was fouled as he went up with the right hand.
Isaiah Briscoe initiates the last opportunity to throw ahead over the top, and then De'Aaron Fox in the open floor, so smooth, able to get the easy roll in. And then that last possession, to me, what I really liked is that Isaiah Briscoe changed speed. And sometimes you can get going too fast and you get a little bit out of control. That time he downshifted, changed speed, changed direction, was patient enough for the seam to open up like a running back would behind the offensive line, waiting to see where the hole would develop.
On his way to the line. And that strong game last week against Georgia. 23 points, 11 boards. There's contact with Fox and Mays. That's his first, De'Aaron Fox. Three ball that time from Skylar Mays.
Mays, one of those young freshman players that has been picking up his scoring as of late. Last 5 games, averaging about 12 points per game, including a very strong 22 points against Arkansas. And they're looking at him as a guy that's really coming into his own as the point guard of this team, consistently trying to learn how to play at this level as a young guard. And I think he's done a pretty nice job improving over the course of this season into this role.
LSU was 0 for their last 9 prior to that Mays score. Sampson charging in now, and he draws the foul.
The LSU offense, that's his first and the team's third.
Brandon Sampson playing some of the best basketball he has played at the college level so far in the last couple of games coming in. A year ago, he was an elite level athlete that was almost hesitant to use his athleticism for any kind of consistent success. Confidence has come with him this season, and in the last 2 games, he's averaging close to 19 points per contest and has done an excellent job getting to the free throw line, where he is 11 for 11.
Had 16 against South Carolina, had 21 against the Aggies. Mulder. And a rebound, and they will reset. Such an issue on Saturday night. Tonight, just the effort making an improvement. And another offensive rebound. That is 10 for Kentucky. Briscoe lost control. Up ahead to Mays. Leaves it, and finishing was Blakeney.
Turnovers leading the offense has been a storyline in the last 4 games. So far in this one, they've done a nice job not turning it over. But when they have, LSU has been able to get runouts.
Mays lost control of it as it was knocked out. Reminder that Thursday night rivalry week will continue with the Sonic blockbuster doubleheader at 8 Eastern. It's going to be number 8 North Carolina and number 8 Team Duke, and then a real good one out in the Pac-12. 5th ranked Oregon and 10th ranked UCLA. That is the Sonic blockbuster doubleheader Thursday starting at 8 on ESPN.
I mean, absolutely outstanding pair of games, that doubleheader between some of the very best teams in the nation. And I think when you look at that North Carolina-Duke game, the concern I have for the Duke Blue Devils is their ability to defend and rebound the basketball with the length and the interior presence of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
How about Sampson doing well there as he scores and the foul. Interesting to see how things set up in the SEC down the stretch here. A little SEC bracketology when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2017 John R. Wooden Player of the Year.
Joe, Sean, and Kaylee with you as we look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology when it comes to the SEC, Farnham.
Well, you look at these and where they're at right now, I think pretty accurate to where these teams have played. I was kind of shocked by Arkansas, obviously losing at Missouri over the weekend. You don't want to do that if you're trying to make the NCAA tournament. Tennessee took a tough loss. They could maybe still play their way in. I think right now, though, the story is Alabama up by 8 over South Carolina. Under 8 minutes left to go in that game. South Carolina's, obviously, that would impact their seeding. Meanwhile, Florida still has a 5-point lead over Georgia tonight. Some pivotal games in the SEC as we enter February.
And Sampson at the line. LSU a 9-0 run, make it 10-0. Remember, they trailed 48-27.
That says a lot about this LSU team and how much buy-in they still have. They're competing. They're not giving up. They're not stopping.
Coach Jones mentioned that this morning. It's been such a tough stretch. As that ends the run, as Malik Monk adds to his total. He has 17 on the night, closing in on his average. Average is 21.9 to lead the way for Kentucky.
Well, it was good floor spacing, good passing that opened up that shot for Malik Monk.
He had such a sluggish start against Florida. Didn't score in the first half, and then finished the game 4 of 14 for 11 points. Sampson again.
Even though we missed the layup, it would concern me, Kentucky defensively, that you allowed him to so easily turn the corner and get right to the rim. I think maybe part of the reason why he missed the layup is he thought there'd be more challenge coming from the Kentucky defense, but there wasn't any.
Foul was on Aaron Epps. That's his third. Fox's pass to Hawkins was off the mark.
The anticipation from De'Aaron Fox was that Hawkins would flatten to the corner and slide down that wing area. He did not.
Blakeney. This time the runner will drop for the Tigers. He has 13. Back to a 12-point margin.
That's a beautiful down. Hawkins. Beautiful pass, though. Getting to the teeth of the defense, right in the center of the floor, and then unselfishly give it up for your teammate.
Reith. Good move to the inside that time. Wap Reith, 6'10".
How about the
player from Australia?
The confidence that we're seeing out of LSU. I mean, all of a sudden, this is what happens. I mean, when you start getting into the middle of the defense, all of a sudden your opponent goes, you know what? We can score every time down if we're just a little bit disciplined. And LSU right now is having great efficiency here in the second half.
Adebayo had it knocked away. Blakeney all the way. It's a 10-point game.
You cannot step away from a driver. And Bam Adebayo on that drive literally left the ball.
Gabriel. And he's able to finish there. He has 18.
If you're LSU, get something going towards the basket again. Do not settle.
Probing the baseline, but it wouldn't drop in from Sampson. And now the extra effort, Patterson, as they will get things going here. Reith through the lane.
It says, I want to go back 2 possessions, though, and watch Bam Adebayo defensively here on the drive by Blakeney. And you have to do a better job. Here's where Bam is right here on your screen. Watch him literally step away from the drive. I mean, he literally
That's Matador right there.
He just leaves the ball. The most important person on the floor is the person with the ball in their hand. And that time, poor recognition and poor defense by Bam Adebayo.
And then the other end of the foul was on Fox. As fighting for it was Epps, but he couldn't get it to drop. Briscoe now. He was looking for the pass to Bam. Bam able to retain it here. And they will reset things with Fox.
I think they're talking about the shot clock and whether or not the ball actually hit the rim when Bam went up for the dunk.
We'll take a peek on that hoop attempt. See if it
hit the rim. No, yeah, the ball definitely
he hit the rim.
Ball did not. Definitely did not. No, but Tess, little things like that I brought up about Bam defending the ball. We've seen that time and time again over the last couple of weeks. Go back to when Lou Evans of Tennessee was driving down the middle of the floor, and the guys were pinching in, but then leaving the ball to go out to shooters that are well beyond the three-point line. Team defense is a belief and a trust that if you rotate off of your man and stop the person with the ball, that somebody else is going to cover the guy that you left, and they're going to bring help defense. That's why it's called help defense. Basketball is a team sport. You have to have faith in your teammates and trust that they're going to be there.
Coach Calipari has been dealing with explaining a lot of some of the recent defensive deficiencies as Briscoe is able to score. He was talking about the other day of some guys not playing well offensively, and then they don't play well defensively. You miss a free throw, you miss a shot, you turn it over, and then they can't get away from it. But obviously a point of emphasis as LSU continues to fight here in this second half.
And continues to score in the paint. And they are driving Kentucky's defense and finding ease.
They want a goaltending there as Briscoe drew the foul coming through the lane.
And they're going to count the basket. And Johnny Jones is way outside the coaching box. And again, you think about Kentucky, and we mentioned it, when you have a sizable lead, are you mature enough to continue with the things that have allowed you to build the lead, or do you start having breakdowns? And what we've seen over the last couple of minutes are the breakdowns that allow the basketball to get to the center of the floor and score.
I feel like that is a key word time and time again. Mature enough.
Briscoe at the line for one.
So Briscoe finishes it off. And it's Reith now with 3 fouls. Point lead here, under 12. Blakeney able to shake free at the end there and bury it.
But do you see, I mean, as soon as he caught the ball, is there any fear or any hesitation of getting to the middle portion of this floor and the middle portion of this defense?
No, and thus a well-earned 17-point night for Antonio Blakeney. Briscoe again. Getting it done in that position.
How about Briscoe? Back-to-back possessions. We talked so much about the defense and the fact that the Cats are giving it up at the rim. Well, so are the Tigers. A nice job by Isaiah Briscoe getting in the middle, forcing the back line of the defense to rotate and finishing through contact. He'll be at the line when we return.
Verke, I just looked at South Carolina's box score here. Farnham, they're shooting 19% in that game.
That's not good, Joe Tess. That's not good at all.
52, trailing by 9 is South Carolina.
Well, and look, you're at home. You're at home. There's no way you shoot 19%. You get beat on the glass the way that they're getting beat on the glass right now. A big reason for why they're trailing the game. Meanwhile, for Kentucky, opponents have been shooting better than 50% from the field in the second half, 5 of the last 6 games. So far in the second half, LSU is shooting 53% from the floor.
And Briscoe has scored Kentucky's last 8 points. He has 11, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. As the lead is pushed back to 16 here. And a travel call that time on Sampson. A reminder, Thursday night we got that great doubleheader. Duke has won 3 straight after that stretch. That seemed like there was an unraveling of sorts. Foul that time as Hawkins made his way through the lane. What's been the difference that you see with Duke?
Well, I think defensively they've got guys that are playing more significant minutes, that are more bought in. Grayson Allen averaging over 20 points per game during this stretch as well. Just being more comfortable, getting continuity. And, you know, some of the minutes of some of their star freshmen have been limited. And that comes to the fact of needing to play better defense and understanding to find roles. And getting Coach K back helps.
Foul was on Isaac Humphries. He has 4.
It continues to be a work in progress. You think about the start of this college basketball season. #1 in the country was Duke. #2, Kentucky. Everybody's talking about them being clear-cut runaways for a national championship. Here we are in February. Both of them ranked in the teens and having some questions. But you know, 4 weeks from Selection Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday, and a great opportunity for teams to try to improve and find their way still. I mean, there's enough time and enough games. It's not necessarily completely panic mode for any fan base right now.
Kansas, Baylor, West Virginia all lost to unranked teams at home this past Saturday. You see the middle of some of these conferences playing better, and February is going to be a really good watch as we arrive at these conference championship tournaments.
Drive, the bucket, the foul, De'Aaron Fox. So quick and so smooth. Very easy on the finish for De'Aaron Fox. I mean, and we've seen this time and time again. He releases just a little bit of a lane and a gap and a seam, and he's going to be able to finish. A little contact underneath with the body. A reminder, after our game, too, we've got Michigan State, Michigan.
Well, last week, Michigan State beat the Wolverines in Lansing. They won 5 straight in that series.
I think the big key for Tom Izzo's team has been, look, Miles Bridges missed 7 games in December with an ankle injury. He's kind of rounding back into form, being the player that everybody anticipated. Nick Ward has been really solid as well, providing that presence underneath. I think Michigan's got to get better production from a guy like Mo Wagner in a game like the one that's going to be coming up after this one tonight.
Kentucky by 19 here. Good dish. Sims couldn't finish that time. And he draws the foul. Reese picked up 4, by the way. That's why he's on the bench. A reminder coming up after Michigan State, Michigan. Lee Bucci and Anderson Sports Center at night, following the evening of college basketball right here on ESPN. Foul was on Gabriel. He's been so outstanding offensively for Kentucky, sending Sims to the line now.
And by the way, congratulations to Jamel and Michael. Sports Center at 6.
Very happy for them. It's been wonderful to watch their growth and development through the years and everything they offer up. Had their debut show yesterday, the 6. And Briscoe continues with his ways here in the second half.
That was beautiful, and what I love about that, you know, we talked about it so frequently a season ago about his struggles from the outside and the confidence in his shot. There was no hesitation on that one, and he has worked so hard to improve his game. Even after shoot-around today over at the practice facility, he stuck around afterwards and continued to get shots up.
Much improved shooter compared to last year, and as you said, he worked hard all off season and continued to maintain that through the season. He has 12 of his 14 here in the second half.
We watch that last offensive possession. As the ball comes up the floor, look at 1, 2, step right in, no hesitation, nice release, hold the follow through. And Coach Cal gives him a slap on the way by. That was a big-time shot, and a nice job being authoritative in the delivery of it. You can't overthink your shot. If you think your shot, you shouldn't take it.
Adebayo was fouled, and was put up a little bit behind him, had to reach back for it.
I think we got a warning on Johnny Jones.
LSU came in having lost 9 straight. Had that opening conference win against Mizzou. And then the stretch of this SEC run has been just a lot to ask. Last year, a team that felt like they could really outscore anyone. This year, they've been giving up a lot of points. Have a tendency to get off to slow starts and have to fight, try to get themselves out of a hole.
Well, and you saw some of that fight here in the second half. I mean, this game tightened up And just when you thought that, all right, LSU is going to maybe break this under 10, Kentucky has now extended it back out to 23.
Largest lead of the night. And now they're on the run. And Blakeney denied the attempt there.
I think that was a pass.
It definitely was a new pass.
That was a pass. He was throwing that.
They're saying goaltending, but that was undoubtedly trying to set up for Bam.
He was throwing that up for Bam. There's no way that this should count as a goaltending. There is 0% chance that that's a goaltending.
I mean, just flat out wasn't. He was eyeballing Bam, trailing the whole way, looking for the glory end, and passed it up for him.
And they're having the discussion about it, and I'd be really surprised if this counts as a basket. You see it there late, but he was throwing that for the alley-oop for Bam Adebayo. And they took the 2 points away. That's the correct call. Fans here aren't going to like it, but that is 100% the correct call. That was a good
ball
defensive
wasn't even
effort.
on the trajectory towards the basket. It was headed towards Big Bam.
What I love right there is communication amongst the officials, though. You know, one official saw it from a different angle, and when you look at this crew, the one thing you want is you want them to get the call right, and they did.
And Mays fouled that time. Fouls on Mays as he lost control, and Monk was getting after the ball. So the bounce back night for Kentucky against a seemingly overmatched LSU team. Remember, Kentucky had lost 3 out of 4 for the first time since the 2013-2014 season.
The officials are making sure the foul is called on the correct player. It was clearly on Mays, who had the ball. And Malik Monk will go to the free throw line. You look at the numbers, too, for Kentucky. You know, transition points have been so key to them all season long. They were second most in the country, 24.8. That used to be 28.5 through the first 16 games of the season. But their last 7, they haven't gotten out in transition as much. Now, there's 2 reasons for that, Tess. One is they're not creating as many turnover opportunities. The second thing is they're taking the ball out of the net more. As teams are getting more confident and being able to score the basketball, it is harder for you to get out in transition when they're all rushing back to the center of the paint, taking that aspect of your game away. And that's where growth and maturity needs to come through for Kentucky, is learning to play at 2 speeds. Often you're not going to be able to score in the first 5 or 6 seconds of the shot clock, especially when you're playing against teams that have scouted you as much as your conference opponents will.
Blakeney was fouled there on the shot. Kayla, I thought that was an interesting point with Coach Calipari with us today when he discussed what Sean was just talking about. He says there's a point when running faster isn't going to help.
It's the truth. It absolutely is, especially for this team who likes to run fast. You know, Tess, we've talked about the reboot that Cal wants from his team, and we've referenced the tweak of that 2013 and 14 season. Let's remember what happened after the tweak in that season. So Cal's team had lost 3 of its final 4 regular season games when Cal asked for that tweak, which he did in the SEC tournament. That team went on to the NCAA title game. So before anybody gets panicked about what they're seeing here, let's remember that things can change quickly, and there's a lot of basketball left to play.
Sure is. Coach Cal was talking about what it takes come March, what you need to look like offensively. You know, with that quickened pace. He was talking about defensive balance with us earlier today, too, saying, you know, if you're on defense 70% of the time, you really don't want to hear what's wrong with your defense.
Well, I mean, that's part of it, is tempo of your offense leads to the amount of time that you're on defense. You know, Chip Kelly offense, right?
And you know how the defense suffers with teams like that.
So then you get fatigued at the defensive end of the floor because other teams are patient. They're trying to slow the game down. And one of the things we talk about so frequently is controlling tempo in basketball does not just come at the defensive end where you're able to take away your opponent's first option. it often comes with how you control the ball at the offensive end of the floor. The discipline that you can show in your offensive game, forcing your opponent to have to fight through multiple screens and ball reversal action. The wear and tear at the offense, the defensive end of the floor then carries over. Your legs get a little bit more fatigued at the offensive end as the game goes on.
Blakeney's been the hot hand for LSU. This is Patterson for three. As he puts it in, Jalen Patterson from our high school teammate Ben Simmons. Briscoe leads it, and bam, climbs the ladder. Farnham.
That was a legitimate one.
No step stool needed.
Oh, man, can he elevate up over the top? A beautiful pass on the drive.
Blakeney's been getting himself into position, that's for sure.
Good patience here for Kentucky.
Stripped away. Jenkins up ahead. And Blakeney, good hands that time by Gabriel. We've seen a little bit of everything with him. But how about a little bam, bam, my man.
Beautiful job coming off the screen. Throw it up and finish. Kentucky strong.
Better Decisions is brought to you by PlayStation View.
Well, if you're looking for a decision maker, you've got one in De'Aaron Fox. An excellent job by his teammates tonight. 6 assists, drawing the defense in, setting the table for high percentage looks from all over the place, in particular the second half where the Cats are shooting 67%. He's also made the right decision to finish at the rim. And you look at the differentials, the last 4 games, the numbers on the left side, those aren't the numbers you want to see. Tonight's numbers, much more to the liking of Kentucky.
That was a stretch with the loss of Tennessee and Kansas, the overtime against Georgia, and then the brutal loss at Florida. Kaylee.
Well, and guys, as John Calipari was asked all week to explain all those turnovers this team has had in the last 4 games, he said it's not that we're not good handlers, it's because we've been making cute plays. He's asked his team not to make the cute play, not to make the hard play versus the easy play. So, Sean, my question for you is, if we add another row to that list of differentials, how many cute plays have we seen the Cats try to make tonight?
Very few. We've seen a lot more solid production. But that execution out of bounds, and Kaylee, I loved your report.
The rim is still shaking, Sean.
But the rim is still shaking down at this end of the floor off of that monster dunk on the out-of-bounds play over the top of Wenyen Gabriel. But yeah, very few cute plays. That wasn't a cute play. That was a tough physical play right there for LSU.
And Epps gets the rebound as well. As Gabriel, who fouled him, as Epps finished it, and a 3-ball for LSU.
That's a 5-point possession for LSU. They got the dunk, they missed the free throw, they got the rebound, and then set up the 3.
And having said that, they're still down 19 as Kentucky has hit 10 of their last 11. Monk matches. He's got 22.
This is going to be 5 seconds. That was pretty close to being 5 seconds.
Nobody came back to get it into Patterson.
Yeah, but nobody came back for LSU to help.
And for Monk, that is his 14th game over 20 points this season. Blakeney continues, and fighting for it that time was Epps. He's been active in the last minute. Sampson through the lane, and he draws the foul. You liked what you saw out of Aaron Epps moments ago.
I love what I saw. Good execution on the out of bounds underneath, and then late recovery and beautiful finish up over the top. That's how strong you want to finish the basketball.
And now 4 on Gabriel.
How about this, Tess? You mentioned all those numbers. South Carolina, 19% shooting. We said Sindarius Thornwell, who I said is one of the best two-way players, really struggled in the first half, 0 for 8. He has 25 in the second half. They are going to overtime, tied at 57 apiece.
That's a nice comeback. That's what good teams do, by the way. You find a way.
Even when you're not playing
South
your
Carolina has done.
We'll see if they're able to get the win in overtime. Obviously, they want to stay on top of the standings. On the men's side, their women's team on top of the standings. On the women's side,
Reith able to track that down. Spirited effort that time from Blakeney. He's up to 20 on the evening.
Good change of pace, slows down a little bit, looks up, finds where he wants to shoot it. Beautiful touch over the top, knowing the shot blocker was rotating over.
He's just an explosive athlete. He hits that next gear. He's something to watch. Time that he has hit 20 points this year. A little shake and bake from Fox. Couldn't get it to go with the left hand as Briscoe got after it. Stayed alive into the hands of Monk.
Difficult look that time, late in the shot clock. So take a look at the standings in the SEC right now. As we mentioned, South Carolina going to overtime against Alabama. Florida up 11 right now in Athens, Georgia, over Mark Fox's team. The race to Nashville. It's going to be a lot of fun by the time that you and I get down there.
It's going to be a lot of fun, especially the way South Carolina, Florida are playing right now. And we know the talent of Kentucky and where they expect to be come early March.
Of course, next Super Tuesday, we are right back here in this building. Valentine's Day match. The rematch between Tennessee and Kentucky. The following week after that, we've got South Carolina at Florida. Should be a great game down in Gainesville. And before you and I end the season here, as Vanderbilt comes into Lexington.
Timeout by LSU. 22-point night for Malik Monk, 18 for Gabriel, and a big lead for Calipari and company.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Curious about that matchup. And also right now, Bama, South Carolina on the SEC Network. Jay Will, we got overtime.
After the game going into OT, you feel the momentum going in South Carolina's favor.
So right now, the Gamecocks trailing it by 1, but roaring back after that big-time deficit. Let's get you back to Tess and Farney. They're on ESPN. They've got Kentucky with a healthy lead, Joe Tess.
Thank you, my man, Adnan, as South Carolina has been led by Thornwell with a big effort to push that game to overtime. Our GoDaddy recap here from Rupp, Sean.
Hey, take a look at the numbers that jump out to you. A really quiet second half, actually, for Wenyen Gabriel overall. Plus 13 in rebounding margin, though, is the key stat for Kentucky. They're rebounding the ball with a better sense of purpose in tonight's contest.
Reminder, Michigan State, Michigan coming up. Shulman, Dockich, and Molly McGrath on the call there. Both teams trying to find their way into better positioning for the NCAA tournament. What a position this guy's been in all night long. 21 for Wenyen Gabriel.
I mentioned it, only 2 points in the second half prior to that release of the three-point shot. He played so well in the first half, a big part of why Kentucky was able to have the lead they had.
So a career high for Gabriel. That's fighting for it among 4 Kentucky players, finally into the hands of Fox.
What I love there, though, defensively, Wenyen Gabriel did an excellent job staying with the ball handler, coming off the screen, and then was late to the recovery, but valued the ball.
Couldn't finish that time as Briscoe set him up. Sampson, as he does so for LSU. He has 17. So a good second half that he's had. You made the point, LSU gave you that 5-minute spurt where they decided to clamp down, fight a bit here. And a 10-0 run against the Cats. Fox showing the speed and was denied that time going up against the big 6'10" Dwap Reed. The Cats needed a little get well, didn't they, after that Florida game? Know how good the front end of that is, but take a peek at Oregon and UCLA as well, folks, because UCLA, they just thumped Washington, and Oregon took care of business big time against Arizona. 2 teams rising at the right time. And then UNC Duke, they have split the last 96 games, 48-48 with the exact same scores. 7,437 apiece. Briscoe.
And they're calling that a shot clock violation.
Final 3 minutes here in Lexington after that stretch of 4 games. The loss against Tennessee. Kansas, the big showdown that was hyped up, gave way with the lead there. Had a scratch and claw for overtime against Georgia, and then you know what happened Saturday at Florida. And then the reaction locally here with Kentucky fans. I was reading the Lexington Herald, their columnist John Clay, who's as good as anybody in covering this program for so many years. He says individuals that blended so well so early, that shared the basketball in a collective effort, that dominated opponents for nearly the first 2 months of the season, appear to have splintered into one-on-one instead of all for one. On the spectrum of fair and unfair heading into tonight, where do you place that?
Well, I think being around the shoot-arounds and being around the practices that we have been around, I don't think this group is splintered at all. And I think their chemistry as far as likability towards one another is very much so present. I think where they've struggled at times is connecting out onto the floor. I don't think for 1 second that when they're out there even defensively that they're like, you know, it's all about me and it's all about myself. I think they're maybe missing some of the steps that are necessary to be a team at the defensive end of the floor, but it's not out of a selfishness. And for everything I've seen at practice, everything that I've seen at shoot-around, in fact, Bam Adebayo told me 3 weeks ago when I asked him, I said, what has surprised you most about your experiences here at Kentucky? And he said, you know what? What has impressed me most, is what surprised me more than anything, is how quick we came together as a group.
1 second being put on the shot clock here. Check in with Kaylee.
Well, Tess, John Calipari's reiterated this week that he loves this team because they're unselfish kids who want to win. He says they just don't know how yet. So Cal's wearing this all hard as a coach. He says players aren't going to fix all of this on their own. They need to be taught. They need to be coached. And Cal says his job is to get them to play more disciplined. Their job is to have a competitive spirit.
And Sean, that tonight. Blakeney, by the way, a 23-point night. And as for that stretch where they lost 3 out of 4, you know, Cal said sometimes you got to get hit in the mouth a couple times to realize what you have to do, that you get it, and you start getting after it. As Fox drops it down. There were some humbling experiences during that stretch. Epps, as he hits the 3.
Good floor spacing that time. Epps spaces out to the corner. Antonio Blakeney doesn't press the issue. He had the taller Bam Adebayo on him, chose not to try to drive. Instead pulled it back out, extended him away from the basket, and found his teammate.
Kentucky's going to be at that Alabama team that has tested South Carolina so well. And then, as we said, Super Tuesday next week will be the rematch with Tennessee. You were on the call that first go-round.
And really a nice job by Tennessee. They were able to space the floor and utilize smaller players, that quick steps. Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, obviously Robert Hobbs had a big game that night as well. And I would anticipate that the game plan for next Tuesday, when you and I are back in this building with Kaylee Hartung, it'll be very similar as far as trying to space the floor and extend out the defense of Kentucky.
Zips has fouled out.
Now, Tennessee was one of those teams that was trending playing its way into potentially an NCAA tournament bid. And then the next thing you know, they take a tough loss to Ole Miss over the weekend. And, you know, the dialogue doesn't necessarily completely change. Actually, excuse me, Mississippi State. Ole Miss did win 2 games in a row, but they beat Vanderbilt over the weekend.
Gabriel adds to his career high. Here's Sims from the corner as he's able to hit that. His dad's going to be visiting campus. Wayne Sims, who played for Dale Brown back in the day. Shaq and others are going to have a reunion, celebrating the SEC team from '91 this coming weekend.
Well, South Carolina's going to double overtime right now.
Fun game.
Left in the game.
He shot so poorly early on. And now forcing it against Alabama into double overtime as Fox spins and then ducks under.
How about
to
the
put it in?
footwork there? I mean, just the balance and understanding by De'Aaron Fox.
Blakeney again.
I'll tell you what, LSU is shooting the ball extremely well from beyond the arc as this game is closing down. They've got this thing back down to 10.
26 points for Blakeney. Reminder that Thursday night rivalry week will continue with the Sonic blockbuster doubleheader. At 8 it is Carolina and Duke, and then at 10 we got Oregon and UCLA.
You think about UCLA, 4 scorers over 20 points apiece in that win you mentioned earlier against Washington. That's the first time since 1994 that the Bruins have had 4 players score more than 20 points. And they were struggling. But in the last 2 games, you know what happened?
What?
TJ Leaf got re-engaged. In their 2 losses back-to-back, 10 points and only 5 rebounds. In the 2 wins last weekend, averaged 26 and 12.
They put up 107.
They can score with anybody in the country.
Foul there as Blakeney came in, and Cal's wondering why. And that is 5 on Gabriel, as he had such a big night with 23 points, 7 of 11 shooting, and 8 rebounds for Wenyen Gabriel. We'll get a very nice reception here. The sensational in the first half, Sean.
Well, his energy was infectious at both ends of the floor and spaced himself out, able to knock down a couple perimeter shots. But to me, what was more impressive was just his level of activity, his awareness to get himself into position, not only to knock down jump shots, but to gain the offensive rebounds, the second chance points. 7 rebounds in the first half to go with 16 points. A quieter second half, but still a season-high night for Wenyen Gabriel. Antonio Blakeney has continued to lead this offense, now 27 points.
And this is a guy that everyone around the program is saying you look to him as a guy who could step up as a leader. And there's a turnover here. And to your point, the way they've gone about these final minutes, and Blakeney adds to it. Couple sloppy moments and a focused effort from Antonio Blakeney.
Red hot shooting from the outside. 31 points for Antonio Blakeney.
That is a career high.
That's a 1-point shot.
Yeah, 32 is his career high.
Right.
Sitting on 31 right now. The 4 3-pointers.
Monk at the line for 2.
Monk at the line. Add to his total.
Go.
But one thing you can't say is that LSU didn't put up a fight tonight.
No, they did.
Responding multiple times down by 20 to make this a very close game. Their 3-point shooting has been outstanding. At the end of the game, though, a lot of Kentucky players that were focused, rebounded the ball much better tonight. Their effort overall was better. LSU, though, 64.5% field goal percentage in the second half. 8 of 10 from beyond the arc. Those are numbers they're going to talk about and continue to want to improve. You can't have breakdowns at the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, Blakeney with 31, 4 3-pointers there. Monk had 23, and of course the big game from Gabriel, 23 and 8 rebounds. And John Calipari now 1 win shy of his 23rd consecutive 20-win season. The get-well game for Kentucky. 92-85. Coming up next, Rivalry Week presented by Wendy's continues. Michigan State takes on Michigan. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.